and welcome to Devstream 138. It's a couch full of new faces today. We're doing a sound-specific Devstream, but there's a lot of hidden surprises in how we're doing this. We're going to talk about the next major Warframe updates from a sound design point of view. So most of the stuff you're seeing is going to be brand new content over the next two major updates. We're going to be doing live demos. We're going to show you behind-the-scenes videos. You're going to go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Woo.
Nice.
What?
Wow. And funny story, David just finished the audio on that, like half an hour ago.
Yeah. Really? Yeah. There you go.
It's fresh off the press.
So what you just heard. Coming next to Warframe, Operation Scarlet Spear. The Sentients have breached the Vale Proxima. Tenno's squads in Railjacks and on the ground must link up in their operations to quell the invasion. So we'll be talking about that today. And then next, the Deadlock Protocol. The Corpus are attempting a resurrection.
Ooh.
What? Yes, uncover secrets about their founder and end their plans with the new Warframe Protea in a newly remastered tile set.
Corpus founder.
Yes.
That is interesting.
Yes, so we have two pretty big things coming in the next little while.
So I'll just show you the sounds that, all the individual sounds that are hooked up to the bow. So there's the draw. Then at the end of the draw, there's a latch. Then there's the shot. And then I also hooked up a projectile zing to the actual arrow. And then, of course, the explosion. The whole sequence together. To show you the alt fire. So here's what it's like in engine. So you'll notice that all this sound gets kind of sucked out right before the big explosion, and we did that to kind of help it feel like it's an imploding kind of explosion. And the way that we did that is we have this tech called mix effects, and what that means is it ducks out all the sounds when one sound is playing, basically. So yeah, I'll take you through the layers here in the session. So here's the charge up, and then the shot. Then there's the implosion, kind of like the pre-explosion. And then the final explosion.
The team have been working on. This is all heavy work in progress, but that's why we're here, to show you what we're working on. So for Protea, what's really interesting about the way she's coming together is all of her waist parts, like her belts and tech kits, are deployable, so she'll go through different state changes, much like Gara with her glass. So for example, when we put down a placeholder name, is just called, what's it called, one placeholder? I took away the messages so I don't see them. But you'll actually notice it goes away. So it pops out and you get these little deployables here. And let's take a closer listen. Yeah. So you get these little buddies.
Yeah.
How would you approach this entire power cast? The item gets deployed, it shoots some beams, and then after that, it collapses up and goes back on the body. So do you have to do an instance of sound design for each?
For each one of those, yeah.
So would that be one consistent thing? Is there a dynamic aspect?
So there would be a cast portion of it for the first part, and then the deployable sound would have a burst on it, and then the guns would have firing sounds individually, and then their impacts would also have sounds, and then there would be a sound for when it closes.
Right.
So we recorded a skate sharpener, a hockey skate sharpener recently. I think it's going to work really well in part of that beam blast. So I'm really excited to try
Hockey
that.
skates in the beam blast, the Canadian it's coming through. It can't be helped. It can't be helped. So
Yeah, you always have to think about, you know, mods as well, right? And so every sound that gets put in has to be able to work no matter what mods you have hooked up, speed mods or whatever.
That's right, yeah.
And so, you know, everything gets put in pieces, right? It's not all one whole sound, which can be a challenge for sure. But then actually it's kind of interesting because then depending on how you have her modded up, you'll get kind of a different flavor of sound too, right? So.
yeah, and speaking of having her modded up, duration is usually a big part of a lot of kits. And with the way her fourth has been pitched, it's the, you know, if you watched the last Devstream, we showed a pretty work in progress version of doing a whole bunch of actions, and then time stops, you go back to where you started. So everything that happens in between there. So. And then we have a second video.
Second one. Yeah. So
Yeah.
and the cool thing, we're really excited about this. We hope, like, the tech is still, again, early days because it requires us, like, sampling a buffer of the game, holding that sample, then reversing it when the power is over and playing it back. But think of, you know, the cool factor of every time you cast that power, it's going to sound different because you've done different actions, you know. So yeah, we're really excited about that. It's pretty unique, and so we're giving it a try and seeing.
To hear when we see the sentience. So as the weapon has two modes, it needs to have two different sounds and two different kind of textures to it, but at the same time keeping the sentience. So for this weapon, I got if you shoot the beam, you'll hear a lot of thunders in there. So my first inspiration with this one was to make the shot really wide, and then the beam more center. So it's like a thunder that goes into the center after.
Mechanism.
Yeah. Yeah, correct.
What's going on there?
That is similar sounds to the thunder, but more like super short sounds of it.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And at the end of the last shot, you get more of the openness of the thunder again. With
Diversity of players that put on fire rate mods and everything, so
Yeah,
like
especially.
no matter what sound you make, it's probably going to end up being
Yeah.
60% faster
Yes,
because
yeah,
of fire rate mods.
Yeah, what's the cheat, like fire rate 5,000 or
Do you guys
something?
do that?
Something
You
ridiculous,
have
yeah.
cheats on command for
Yes,
fire rate?
yeah.
Sounds about right.
It's always funny when you design a weapon that is really slow, like toof, 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 and it's really awesome, and then you see someone with the super mod one, it's like,
Yeah, there goes all the subtlety.
what happened to the sound?
Tigers are dead. Image. So this is our first Corpus gunblade. It looks like a light chainsaw, but it's a gun and a blade, so it's pretty damn slick. Now, when it comes to melee, there's a different pool of sounds to pick from because you have different impacts. You have to do all the variant attacks.
Yep.
How do you make a gunblade sound Corpus when it's still a gun and a blade?
Yeah, so Willem worked on this one, and a lot of the defining factors of Corpus weapons are, of course, synthy and techy. And so he used a lot of, synthesized kind of sounds to make it have that, kind of high-tech feel, but then also mixing in organic sounds, and he actually mixed in an alligator into this somewhere as well. So there's always like
Again,
some
we have an
interesting-
alligator at DE.
Yeah, exactly. There's also a bird screech in it, a granulized bird screech. So he loaded it up.
So that's a UI component that has a role in the upcoming Operation Scarlet Spear. Okay, you can put me back.
You sure?
Yeah, okay. So this is a new environment where these missions will kick off from, and it's basically the HQ for what's about to go down for
Looks so
Operation
good.
Scarlet Spear. So this is, I'm going to start at the top again and go slow. I just wanted to give everyone a little look there, and then we'll do, I kind of ruined the drama of that, but anyway.
Think about life. and-
This is pretty grim scenery, George. What I see here is a bit ominous, if you ask
It
me.
is.
Yes.
It is. But yeah.
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 I don't know, what were you going to say, George? Now I want to know. Tell us.
Tell us.
Yeah, so we'll have, this will be the base of operations for what the operation will be, of course. Your operation link will be put to its first use here in the, and it's going to be a, Scarlet Spear is going to be a doozy, my friends.
Yeah.
Going to take you behind the scenes of how we create these sentient shit noises that you're going to hear. I'm using a device called the Leap Motion Controller, and it tracks the motion of my hand. So as you can see here, when I move my hand, all of the input goes into this program. That allows me to track the up-down movement and the side-to-side movement. I then send all of that data to a synthesizer called Absinthe 5. In there, I can control filter cutoff, I can control pitch, and I can control sample length of different samples. What that allows me to do is articulate the ship sounds exactly how we want them and make a lot of different ship sounds from a small amount of samples. And here's how it sounds.
So you've made a new appearance. Tenacious?
Tenacious. The new one.
So
That's right.
how does one
Yeah.
make a MOA sound tenacious, Jeff?
So this one is heavily inspired by Rocky.
I see, okay. In animation and sound?
Yes, and sound.
Yes.
Yeah, so, the other three are like the sensitive one is kind of softer, and then we have this sort of nerdy, really fast one, which is higher pitched, and then the aggressive one, which is just really barky. So I wanted to go in a different direction with this one, which is a bit lower in pitch and kind of croaky.
Okay.
Very similar to how Rocky or Stallone would sound. So
Channeling his inner Stallone. Yeah.
Rocky Balboa.
the synth up there on the screen, which is called Serum. It's a wavetable synth, or set up to be that way right now.
Someone said serum in chat, they already knew.
So I've got a little vocal sample that I've recorded and then put into that. And then it's basically a little chopped up vocal sample that you can
That's you?
scrub the playhead. Yeah,
Okay.
it's my vocal. It's my best Rocky impression.
Okay, all right.
We're not going to hear what that is. but
Okay,
you're gonna hear the
I
process version.
understand.
So, and then the controller is set up in a way to sort of map parameters of that synth, similar to how Eric did with the Leap controller.
Yep.
So you can see if I tilt my finger back and forth here, it sweeps the wavetable, and then pressure is moving that EQ on the right side.
So some of these are lit up blue and some green. Does it matter?
That's just a C note. That's more of a musical thing,
Oh,
so it
okay.
doesn't matter in this case.
Okay.
Yeah, so with this controller, you can also slide pitch, and you can, so when you combine all of that, you try to get a performance that fits the emotion. So if he's dying or something, you might pitch down.
Okay, kill a MOA right now. All right, get a kill
out a
shot.
bit.
Fatality. He killed someone.
Oh, geez, that's
happy.
a tough one.
There you go.
All right, Chad, give us some.
I think you should try it, Rebecca.
Okay, all right,
think,
we're going.
see,
I don't wanna-
anybody can be a sound designer.
No, that's not true. That is very not true. All right, Chad, see you back home. Okay, here we go.
That's good. That's good.
Sound designer.
Excited MOA.
All right, what else? All right, let's close the poll so we can get some more readability in chat. Someone says do the Konami code. MOA stubbing a toe.
It almost sounds like uh-oh. That's cool. See?
We don't put it in the patch notes because it'll sound like it's alive. It'll be like, holy shit, did Harrow just start breathing differently?
Yes.
Could be good.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Stealth fix the sound.
Yeah.
David?
I don't know. I can't think of anything.
You love everything.
Honestly.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, there's
Valentine's.
different levels of love, but not a total hate sort of thing.
What a good way to live.
Yeah. We did.
Life advice on this, student.
It's funny though because the sounds you made a few years ago, you're a different person now. So you're kind of in a different place, and you've hopefully improved, and you've grown from there. So so it is funny working on a game like this. It's like some of the earliest stuff. Like I remember like AK Stilettos. I think I did those, and I don't really like the sound of that. And yeah, so I don't know. There's a few things. There's a few things, but
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, like when I first started, I got to help out with Plains of Eidolon before
okay.
it came out. So that was like, you know, I knew nothing about how to put sounds in the game. You just had to like learn it right like then and
Do it
there. And
live.
yeah, right now. And yeah, so like that stuff for sure was, but I mean now, I mean, I look back at the stuff I did 2 years ago and it's like a night and day difference.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, there you go. Phaedra, something, you know, Axtiletto. I like it. All right.
Okay, Rev, what's your least favorite Lotus line you've ever recorded?
Least favorite Lotus line that I've ever recorded?
You have to have one, right?
That's good.
Anything
That's
that hurts the feelings of our players.
Oh,